Welcome to Monday Night Raw. In the words of the guy behind me, WWE 2K26 is going off with these covers that's trying to really sell the people into, I guess, I don't know, forgetting about what they should be doing. And that's what we've been requesting for the longest, a better story mode, more cutscenes in the story mode, doing like backstage interviews, and having, interviews and not just, in the backstage area, but hell, put it in bars, restaurants, different locations, having the free roaming ability, all the stuff, show intros with the fireworks, all the stuff that we've been wanting and requesting. We've gotten everything except that, but we're going to be getting more news and more information. But I just wanted to show you a couple of pictures that have been floating around, and these are AI generated pictures, of course. But this is something that I feel like the game should. This is exactly how it should be looking, man. I mean, current gen only, let that be the only thing that this game come out on as far as console wise. Xbox Series X, S, PS5, the only three consoles that this game should be coming out on, and I'm expecting for the game to look somewhat similar to these pictures, these throwback Attitude Era pictures that you see behind me. My expectations out of WWE 2K26 are really slim to none, because I'm starting to think that WWE 2K is being run by TKO. And if y'all don't know what TKO is, that is the company that the WWE is partnered with that is making all the decisions on what's going on, and the reason why the WWE is now on ESPN, the app. The craziest mess I've ever heard, witnessed, and I really don't care if they don't make a penny or a dollar out of ESPN, because this is the most greediest thing that you could do is if you're a wrestling company. Because if you got Monday Night Raw on Netflix, but you over here at ESPN, it's just showing the greed. It's just showing that you just have no respect for the fans. But then on top of that, internationally, over there on the international, wherever that is, out of the country, people of different, races and, things of that sort can watch these pay-per-views, WWE pay-per-views on Netflix. But we, the people over here in the U.S., have to go to ESPN and pay $30-some a month. We're only getting one pay-per-view out of that month. Make that make sense. But to them, it makes sense because they are getting paid out for whatever they're getting paid out for going over to ESPN. But ESPN is soon to regret this because the numbers are not adding up and they're not doing too well over there. And which I'm happy that they are not doing too well over there, because it's just showing that you just not only disrespecting the people over here in the U.S., but you're disrespecting our pockets too. That's why I've been tuning out to any pay-per-views, because this is just disrespectful. But back to WWE 2K26. The reason why I say that 2K26 is, I feel like TKO is having saying over, how these wrestling games should be, because just exactly what they're doing with as far as the greed and financial, decisions going on with the WWE on TV. You've seen that the financial things are taking over place with these wrestling game itself, WWE 2K, with the whole island having to buy and spend money on different things of that sort, with my faction buying persona cards and things of that way, just getting out of control, and is really taking away from the attention of what the game should be getting, and that's fun, entertainment. Entertainment as far as promos, having voiceovers will be nice. Free roaming abilities with different backstage areas, the way you can free roam and not just be in one big space. All of these things are getting currently and each and every single year ignored, because the most important thing to them is getting what they can get out of our pockets. That's why I said this is not on current gen. If this year WWE 2K26 was to not be on current gen, I will not be getting it. And I'm not saying that disrespectfully. I'm saying that because I'm confident and I'm knowing for a fact that it's time for a change. I'm not saying and trying to rally everybody up together to try to say we should boycott WWE 2K. Let's just see if they're going to come back on current gen. If they're not coming on current gen this year, what they are, but they also coming back on PS4 and Xbox One, I feel like people should not, support. I know it will be difficult, but how else will you be heard and get these changes if we keep buying the same thing every year and not getting nothing but a copy and paste. The slap in the face is to the consumer, which is, I feel, also disrespectful, because if we gonna buy the product, we should at least be getting some of the things that we requested, not things that are half, done and not really putting forth towards any effort in. As the universe last year was pretty much a disappointment. I mean, I feel like you shouldn't even put promos or anything in it if you're not going to have just a superstar with a microphone up to their mouth, but nothing's coming out. But you have the commentary over there giving, their view, they're doing their commentary along with the superstar, whoever that's in the ring, that's not saying anything, to try to make it seem like some sort of a broadcast presentation feel. It's not enough. That is half done and is very disappointing and disrespectful, because you shouldn't even have just done anything at all if you're going to go halfway with that. And still, 2K25 did not give any type of promos backstage in different locations. And still 2K25, you was fighting in one big space for as far as backstage go. And still we have not yet. And I've seen the Jacob Fatu and the Cody Rhodes brawl that happened on Saturday's main event. And they went in the crowd. They went in the crowd. And guess where they went, y'all? They went up the crowd steps. And I say that with extra emphasis, the crowd steps. Because this is something that should have been in wrestling games. And once they fought up those crowd steps, y'all, they went all the way up to the top. As they've done before in many years in the WWE. The Attitude Era, preferably. Especially with the Rock and Mankind. The halftime Sunday Night Heat when the Super Bowl was going on, when Mankind and the Rock fought in the empty arena during Super Bowl halftime. Went all the way up the crowd steps to the top of the crowd steps into under the tunnels. And under the tunnels, guess what we got? We got a backstage area where we had WWE, merchandise, shopping zone area, right there. Table in front of the merchandising area. And Jacob Fatu did one of his moves on one of the referees, or one of the security guys. And he did it on top of the table, and the table broke. And that was the merchandising table for the WWE. And he had the concession stand right down from that, where people were working behind the concession stands, where they serve the food and everything, the beverage. All those things should be in the backstage areas of these wrestling games. And I just can't see what could be so difficult in not putting those things in the games to make it more exciting for the fans, to make it more exciting for the people to want to play and have, the longevity that you should have in the playing. And they wonder why that these games doesn't stick long. People will play for 2 or 3 months and then they'll stop playing, because it's no longevity, it's no replayability. We have no story mode, no road to WrestleMania, no creative story, nothing that's gonna keep us in tune until the next game drop. If you don't have none of that and you steady just basing it upon how much money you can get out of your consumer who bought your product with my faction, the island, what you charging people with these persona cards and things of that sort, that's not going to stick. It's not going to stick. It's going to continue to go to a waste value. And it's like, if you 2K, this is what you want to ask yourself. How long do we think this is going to succeed or partially succeed with you wanting to get people to buy into something and you're not meeting any type of request on their end of what they want? How long do you think that will continue to be a thing, to be successful, as far as like having a video game that you say or so-called developing? You have to really ask yourself that, because this is going to be very limited. And after a while, people are going to stop supporting. People are already unfollowed the account of the WWE games because of the simple fact that none of the requests, none of the things that should have been in the game, that we've been asking for the games in videos like this with content creators, is still being ignored. So I say all this to say, if the current gen, they don't come back on current gen only, and they come back on PS4 and Xbox One, people should not waste their money, because it's not going to be nothing different. But if you want to, that's on you. But you're going to be the same one saying the same thing that you say every year and looking like a fool every year. Now, if you make content videos based off of wrestling games, I can't really fault you on that because that's your bread and butter. So you got to have the game in order to make your videos, to make your money on YouTube. But I feel like those people are, kind of setting us back a little bit because, and I like watching their videos. I like watching their videos. So that's why I say part of me don't want to fault them. But at the same time, if you're a gaming developer, it's like, why should I listen to anything that he's saying if I know he's going to buy the video, because I know he has to make content on YouTube about the video, which I know he's going to do anyway. So why should I listen? I should just move at my own pace, right? That type of thing. So it's like, I love watching those videos. I love watching Kenny Baum. I love watching Jess Bryan. I love watching Jesse from the Pro Wrestling Shoot. I love watching their videos because they kind of get me low-key hyped about the game. And I fully support those guys. But it's like, if you're 2K, you're going to move at your own pace. Because you know they're going to buy the game, because you know they're going to do what? Have to make a video in order, to keep the, the viewership and the revenue if they're making any money off their channel at the time. It's going to be something like that every year and constantly going on because, they have to make their videos about the game because that's the majority of, how they, with the content. That's the majority of their content, of what their content are based upon off their channel. So I feel like that kind of like slows it down as well because they're going to continue to keep moving at their own pace. But that's as far as I got, and this is, as far as I got with WWE 2K26, what I can expectations and things of that sort, graphic-wise, gameplay-wise, and just backstage everything in general. Story mode, fighting up the crowd steps, backstage to the top of the crowd steps, to the tunnels, to backstage with a merchandise table, concession stand. You get my drift. Things that actually make wrestling games back fun again, back exciting, and bringing longevity in it. And make fans feel like they are confident enough to want to purchase your next game for the next year. Something that we are losing slowly, year by year, is confidence and not supporting anymore. But we'll see how 2K26 develops with the thumbtacks and the stackable tables, and let's see what else they have to offer with that. Sensei's reality, y'all be good, and the Attitude Era is the best era. Y'all stop hating. See y'all in the next video. Y'all know what to do. Like to get up, subscribe. One love. Peace.